What's going on, everyone? So Bojan Bogdanovic is clearly a Lakers target. The Lakers actually even made an offer of a protected first-round pick, but the Detroit Pistons, based on reports, want an unprotected first. But then we got later reports that said that they also want either other draft compensation or a young player with upside. And so the Detroit Pistons are playing hardball, but I do imagine between now and the trade deadline, very likely it drops down to probably one first, which they very likely will get. Even teams like the Phoenix Suns are starting to get a little desperate. They're sinking faster than a ship that's half built. Like they are just sinking fast. And because of that, I could see them kind of getting desperate and saying, okay, we need a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic, which could add some difficulty for the Lakers. But the Lakers are trying to find justification in order to give up that unprotected first for Bojan Bogdanovic. They're trying to work out a way to go get Bojan, and it looks like another piece. So based on recent reports that we got, the Lakers are trying to get Bojan Bogdanovic, and it looks like Nerlens Noel, which I find very interesting with that. Because the whole, Clutch Sports lawsuit, LeBron James being on the Lakers, the Lakers are also working out bigs. So is that something that makes sense for the Lakers? Like Noel, I wouldn't mind at all. I think he could be a really solid, serviceable big man that could really help this Lakers team. But in general, it's a little odd in my opinion. But here's exactly what was said. So per Howard Beck, maybe that will be the case. I've heard the Lakers and Pistons have discussed a deal that would include both Bojan Bogdanovic and Nerlens Noel, since the Pistons are demanding draft assets in any deal for Bogdanovic. It's sort of given that the Lakers would have to surrender a first-round pick to make a deal. Maybe they make a second deal to fortify the rotation further, which would be awesome, but we'll talk about that in a second. Will they be willing to trade both picks that are currently trade eligible? The sense around the league is that they won't, but we will see. Now, personally, look, Rob has said he'll make the trades, that he'll trade the picks. It just has to be for the right deal because, Rob's right. I mean, he has one shot at this, right? You have these two picks and that's it for right now, right? So if you're going to make a deal, it has to be a deal that makes sense. It has to be a deal that takes the Lakers to the next level. Bojan Bogdanovic, I think, would be just a perfect complement, perfect fit next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. He's shooting the absolute lights out. He has been on fire this season. He's shooting, 50, 40, 90 practically, and is a guy that he doesn't need the ball to be effective, right? And he's always a threat. He would open the lane just tremendously for Anthony Davis, for LeBron James, for Russell Westbrook. Now, with a guy like him, you can't pack the paint as much. My concern, though, is that they want Nerlens Noel. And look, I like Nerlens Noel. I think he would be a great, solid addition to this Lakers team. But I think a big is kind of the last thing we need. And I just think, like, again, if you're going to go get Nerlens Noel, go get Hassan Whiteside for free, right? Like, I don't think, like, and this to me kind of feels like a justification move, right? The Lakers don't want to give up the unprotected first for Bojan. And so they're like, okay, well, what else can we get besides Bojan for you that you'd be willing to give up for an unprotected first? And I think that's where Nerlens Noel came in, right? I think that, they're like, well, what do you think of Nerlens Noel? And it's like, well, we could use another big, which, I mean, he would give you a different look, definitely. I do think he could be a solid rotation big for the Lakers, especially if they do decide to move Thomas Bryant into the starting lineup. Darvin Ham recently had comments about that. LeBron James, he even talked about how he's excited and, envisioning himself, Anthony Davis and Thomas Bryant playing in the front court together. So if that is the case, then okay, it makes sense to go get another big because then your only other bigs are Damian Jones, which doesn't really seem to be like a piece that they want. And they also have, Winning Gabriel, but he's undersized at the 5, probably best for him at the 4. So now you have this, Winning, Thomas Bryant, Anthony Davis, and then you'd have Nerlens Noel, and then you have Bojan Bogdanovic. But if you have Bojan Bogdanovic, then you're probably playing LeBron at the 4. And now I just think you have this logjam, right? Now, maybe they unload Damian Jones in the deal. because yes, he's on 2 years with the players option, but he's still really young. So maybe Detroit's like, he's young, he has some upside. Worst case scenario, he's only making like $2 million. We got plenty of cap space. It's not a big deal. So maybe they're willing to take on Damian Jones in that sense. Because otherwise, you got like basically five centers and power forwards. And that's not even counting like JTA, who's probably best at the four. LeBron's playing the four. I just see this like huge log jam, and it's just something that they don't really need. Now, personally, in a perfect world, and it's even something I made a video about earlier today. I'll even link that video down in the description below. I definitely recommend you check it out. Or yesterday, I made it yesterday. But when I made that video, I talked about like if you could get Bojan Bogdanovic, maybe you could add in like say Patrick Beverley, Lonnie Walker, and the unprotected first because they want a young player, right? Well, now you get Lonnie Walker. They have more than enough money to go sign Lonnie Walker and keep him long term. You're basically could just give Lonnie Walker a percentage of what you paid Bojan Bogdanovic because you're moving off of that. You get the unprotected first, and then the Lakers could get maybe like an Alec Burke. I think Alec Burke and Bojan Bogdanovic would just be perfect, right? 6'6", sizable shooting guard, small forward. He's got good size, 3 and D. He's shooting like 43% from three on top, as well as Bojan Bogdanovic. I mean, you have those two out there on the court with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Good luck. You could literally have a starting five of like Dennis Schroeder, Alec Burke, Bojan, LeBron, and Davis if you wanted to. Or, have Austin Reeves and bring Burke off the bench. I would go and target Burke. And Burke and Noel are basically making nearly the same amount of money. Burke makes I believe just under $1 million more than Noel's. So if you can do the deal for Noel and Bojan, then you could do the deal for Alec Burke, right? So salary-wise. And my guess is, because they're not going to take on Russ, the Lakers want to keep Russ. My guess is that they're probably going to give up Lonnie Walker, unless they're willing to take like 5 contracts on. Because if the Lakers are going to take Bojan Bogdanovic and Nerlens Noel, then they'd have to give up another sizable contract or several. So they have to give up basically another like $6 million in salary in order to meet that, because of what Noel makes plus Bojan. You can't just do Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn straight up. So that means they're probably going to give up Lonnie Walker. And if you're going to give up Lonnie Walker, because that's really the only way I see that adding up finance-wise, unless you're stacking, JTA, Troy Brown, and Damian Jones. But why, Detroit wants to take on 5 players that they're going to have to buy out 3 of them? That doesn't really make sense, right? So I'd imagine it'd be Lonnie Walker. If you're going to give up Lonnie Walker, it would be really good to get Alec Burke, right? Because Alec Burke, he's still relatively young. You'd have control over him. You'd have control over Bojan for the next several seasons. And I really think Alec Burke and Bojan, again, would open the floor so much. And that would just make things so much easier for LeBron and make so much things easier for Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook especially. I just think if you could get that, I'd rather them go and do that. Go get Alec Burke. Look, the grand prize is Bojan, right? Because Bojan's the guy that's going to be the real game changer. He's going to be the guy that's really going to come in and give you, 20 a game. He's playing all-star level. The guy's playing fantastic. I just think Nerlens Noel is the last thing we need, and we need more guys like an Alec Burke. Even if you have to give up a second, right? Let's say it's Lonnie Walker, a first and a second round pick. Do it. Just do it. Bite the bullet. Go get Bojan Bogdanovic. He's been playing just unbelievable. You get that. Have them throw in Alec Burke, give them Lonnie Walker, give them a second, whatever it takes, right? You got Chicago's 2023 and you have your 2023. So with both of those, you have enough. Maybe you give them Chicago's 2023 or give them yours, whatever. It's not the end of the world, right? You'd still have your first this year that you're going to get. You could always, if there's a guy in the second round that you absolutely love, you could always buy that pick like they've done the past several drafts. You do it. You make the move. You get Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burke, and you still have a first-round pick to where if something else comes up, something else lines up, you could do it. You could still go do the Cam Reddish deal if you wanted to, right? Like you could go trade 2 seconds for Cam Reddish and then just stack, in that case, stack, Damian Jones and JTA or whatever, and go get that. You still have your first. If you still have your first, maybe if a deal comes along that makes sense for Russ, like, say the Hornets deal opens up or something like that, right? Or maybe you look at the Spurs deal or something and you give up that other first, right? And also teams might be more willing to compromise if you only have one first, right? Because right now the Lakers have both first, so it's like, why not try to get it, right? But if you you end up trading one of the firsts to get a Bojan and you get like an Alec Burke or a Nerlens Noel, which I don't really like that. But like if you did do that deal, and then all you have left is a first. So now teams, if they really do want to get that other first, well, then now you only have that one to negotiate with. So teams already know what to expect. So if they're going to take your call and you're going to have that negotiation, then you're going to have that negotiation with that first. But look, if you get Alec Burke, Bojan Bogdanovic, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, you should win a championship. They would be one of the best teams in the league, like hands down, because now you have your shooting, you have your defense, you have you have everything. You have your floor spacing, you got size now on the perimeter. Bojan is better defensively than people give him credit for. People forget that Bojan and Joe Ingles were the 2 defensive wings for the Utah Jazz for several seasons, and they were fine. They were actually really good defensively. A lot of that, yes, of course, was Rudy, but we have Anthony Davis. Bojan was really good at funneling the offensive player into the big, which would be Anthony Davis as opposed to Rudy. And I think it's the move. I think it's the move that you make. If you can get this done, you get this done. You do this immediately, and you're off to the races. In my opinion, you are one of the best teams in the league at that point. But as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Are you okay with Nerlens Noel? Would you be willing to do the trade and take on Nerlens Noel? Do you think no, you got to get like an Alec Burke? That would be the preferred. Because again, if you can do Nerlens Noel, you can get Alec Burke, and Alec Burke isn't going to field another first. So again, give up Lonnie Walker, because you're probably going to have to give up Lonnie Walker to go get Nerlens Noel. So give up Lonnie Walker, give up the first unprotected, take on Bojan, take on Alec Burke, and you're off to the races. Let's go win a championship. Seriously. But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down